Hi, I'm Luis Barbosa, Solution Architect Manager from Blue Orange Digital. And today you're going to see a little demo, a little POC involving connecting Snowflake with ChatGPT, creating a little dashboard in order to exchange the prompts through Streamlit, especially applied to financial market. The idea is to access also a public database from Snowflake Marketplace with financial indicators and use some prompt engineering so the model can recognize those. And from that, would be able to generate proper queries to that database and identify those indicators, and not only generate those queries, execute on the fly directly from the chat prompts. So let's see a little bit more about the idea. So yeah, I was saying the idea is to create a little Python code running on a computing service. I'm going to use something as simple as Conda, could be something else. And this code will be able to connect to a chat GPT model through its API, and also to Snowflake in order to create some data. The data in particular that we're interested are financial market metrics or indicators that's public available on their marketplace, right? So I'm going to do some prompt engineering so the model can have some context on what we're trying to do. Once he has this context, he'll be able to create SQL queries based on these database that are important for the marketplace, and not only generate those queries, but execute on the fly. So we'll be able to query financial market information based on a business question, right? What's the historical loan rate for the state of California, for instance? So once we have something like this, the GPT model is going to generate the SQL query and execute on the fly against the database that we're importing here. Okay, so let's do it. It's a little extensive, but somehow simple. We're going to start with something as simple as installing Conda. So download mini Conda, which is a Python and other data science environment. The full version is called, of course, Anaconda, and its minimal version exactly this, my mini Conda. So I'm using a Mac machine, going to be very similar on Linux. Windows, somehow similar. I'll have to download the execution file and hit install. But yeah, once you have this, I can then create an environment on Conda for my project. So for our project, we're using already a Conda command. We're creating this environment. BOD is no LLM. For Python 3.10. And making reference to this repo that Snowflake make available. All right. forgot to initialize conda. Restart my shell. And here we go. So the conda environment is created. I'll have to activate to access. It's like a virtual environment, right? So you can see the context here that we are within a specific environment for our project. And then we're going to install some libraries. Basically, the Snowpark library that enable us to connect to Snowflake, and OpenAI library that are going to enable us to connect to the ChatGPT API, right? And also install the Streamlit library. It'll take some time, but I hope it's fast enough. It's taking a while. Okay, all good. And then what I'm gonna do next is make sure that I have my account created on Snowflake. Here it is. In case you don't, make sure create it, at least a try environment. It's simple enough. Simply fill a simple form without any credit card or nothing like that. Create your account. My account, it's up and running. And what I want to make sure that I have access to is to the marketplace. Marketplace is a place in which partners of Snowflake make it available either data sources, applications, and so on. So one of those a database of the financial market, the cyber scheme one. So simply access this URL. You can open it, and you can see a preview of it. So they have many different financial information. Here it shows some clear examples that they make it available, and then there is a button here for you to import all this data into your own Snowflake deployment, right? So I did it on my account admin level, but for you to have an idea, regardless of the SQL syntax, you can see what kind of information they have. So they have here, for instance, net income loss uh, for um, for bank accumulated income. Another one for all major banks. They have information about what's the percent of the assets that are not secured, like the Deutsche Bank, Silicon Valley Bank. Funny enough, Silicon didn't seem so bad. What else? Prior to COVID, we have historical information of how many, what's the total branch that different banks from different states had opened pre-COVID and post-COVID, and see percent of change. So in general, a lot of states, they lost around 10% or so of their, in some cases 25% of bank branches and so on. But again, there is several, we can explore all that. I have several financial indicators. Here it's how many credit card complaints per month per bank. And can keep going. There is several information. The main thing again, it's once you have your Snowflake account up and running, make sure that you import all these database into our Snowflake deployment. Once you do so, we would have this, a copy of it, CyberSyn Financial Economic Database Essentials, right? That's the one. And then what I have to do is to create a couple of views to have it materialize this information, at least a subset of these tables that I want to use in order to our Chat GPT query those database or those particular tables. So I'm putting it available here on our scripts. All the, let's hit worksheet here, create a new SQL worksheet, and have access to this code. What I'm doing here is create a sample database for our project, a schema. Within that schema, create this couple of views, and those views are basically consolidating data from these tables, from some tables of this database that are just imported from Snowflake Marketplace, right? So I can even run everything at once. If you want to execute step by step, feel free. In the end, what I'm doing here finally, it's to do a simple select in one of the tables. So that is summarization of financial metrics for different institutions. So this bank here, not really familiar, but a bank from Ohio, Civista Bank, what the number of assets, deposits, the percent of insured, so a bunch of information of different banks. I'm limited for the top 10 rows. I could see as many rows as one. Snowflake is very good on doing special queries. It's in the end of the warehouse. So I have these for many different banks, right? And not only this, the other view, it has some expertise. Yeah, this other one. Yeah. This other one has explanation of the variables that you are analyzing. If it's total deposit, percent of insured information, real estate loans, and so on. Okay, so on our Snowflake end, that's pretty much it. So we have our compute environment up and running, simple enough, a Kona environment. We have our Snowflake with data important from the marketplace and a couple of views on top of the main data that they want to use. So let's work on our user interface. Let's start creating our code mainly related to Streamlit. Okay, so let's create our little directory for our project. All right. Let's create another directory specifically for Streamlit. And then configuration file of the secrets that Streamlit going to use it. For us, it's going to be basically the API key for the ChatGPT and our account information for Snowflake, right? So here is going to be our key to ChatGPT API. our username and password for our Snowflake environment, and our account also from the Snowflake environment, right? Let me save it, adjust it on the background here. Give me a second. Just make sure that I save it in the right folder. Yeah. Here it is, the right folder. Second just shows just this secret information. All right, so we can test the connection with both ChatGPT and with Snowflake. For ChatGPT, let's create something like what I'm gonna call a Python code validation, credentials for GPT. It's going to be a very simple code that's going to import the secret key that got on the other file using the Streamlit API, the OpenAI API. We're going to create a ChatGPT session here. Simply initiate the session in which there are the role as the role of the user. We're gonna ask a very simple question: what's Streamlit? And I'm gonna print that on the screen, on the Streamlit screen. Okay, let's do it and let's run it. Let me break it here. And let's make sure I'm again the right folder. I guess not. Right. Let's go back one level, and now, yeah, can recreate our file. Now should be fine. Exactly, it's running fine. It open a Streamlit user interface and basically respond to the prompt that you asked. What's a Streamlit? So ChatGPT is already responding us. What Streamlit is, open source Python library, blah, 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 and so on, right? We can create another integration test for Snowflake now. So let's do this. Let me break here. And let's create something called a link, especially for these credentials. Snowflake now. And again, very simple code using Streamlit interface. Create a session with Snowflake, with Snowpark, and run a very simple query, which is to get the current data warehouse that's connected on Snowflake and show right on the output on the interface what is this data warehouse that we are using right now. All right, open a new interface, and now you see it. The warehouse that you're using, the warehouse in the case here is the processing layer of Snowflake, right? So it's called compute warehouse, WH. Okay, so I guess we are all good in terms of connectivity, integration. We can actually start creating our chat. So let's create a very simple chat here. Some Python code. So the Python code here, it's simple enough. So we're gonna have every message that's available on this session of the ChatGPT session or the message that's over there. We're gonna iterate here and keep writing it to the web interface and our Streamlit interface, right? What else? When there's the role of the assistant, so someone that's doing the query is the user, and the assistant is represent the GPT. When the case it's GPT, we're gonna show a little logo, a little message, a little icon as it's processing, as it's thinking, and in the end here we're gonna open a prompt, and for that prompt we'll be able to append new messages. Uh, New message to the session, right? So let's see if it works. Here it is, this little icon, message of help. You can ask anything from here. That's a very simple user interface to Chat GPT, right? Could ask something now, what is Snowflake? So it's a regular interface to Chat GPT, integrate through their API, right? So it's simple enough. What we want to do next, so again, I have everything up and running. What I do next, it's a little prompt engineering. The code is going to be a little tricky, but anyhow, we want to make sure that the ChatGPT understand the context of the table, the kind of information that we have available on the database that's important from the Snowflake marketplace. And once they have that context, uh, it will be able to generate SQL queries to SQL statements to query that database that's important. And again, not only that, with a very simple line of code, you'll be able to directly execute that line of code on Snowflake, right? So let's do this. So first thing, we're gonna create a little code for the prompts. Okay. So for the prompts here, we're gonna have some bunch of strings, right? So the full table name, the table description, the select that identify metadata from the tables, and a base uh, prompt text that we're saving on this variable here, gen underline SQL. So we're instructing ChatGPT to act as AI Snowflake SQL expert called Frosty, set some goals to him, uh, a couple of instructions. So every single SQL code that we generate should put these markdowns, so it format as code, and so on. If you have limited the results up to 10 items, in case I have to use the keywords like, and so on and so forth, right? If you notice, throughout all these instructions, all this prompt engineering, there is markup here for context. So context is going to be exactly the kind of information that we're going to extract from the tables that we're interested to introduce here. Because this process here of this prompt, it's feasible to reproduce to whatever kind of table content you have, right? Here we are using financial data, financial tables, right? So that's going to become our context. But these instructions in order to generate SQL code are generic enough to use to other kind of tables, right? So that's the prompt engineering, can read through all the details. And there is some specificities as in the end here, for instance, where we would format the final prompt. Like there is this function here, get system prompt, that is gonna put us context, all information related to the tables, the schema database, again, alongside with the general prompt text that we're using, right? Let's try that, and probably easiest to see that way. Just something here. All right, it's open already. So here it is. Here's the whole prompt that's generated. So that's all the whole instruction that we're putting to ChatGPT, so you can have some context on what kind of query you want to generate. Again, this whole introduction and the particular instruction that we're putting to ChatGPT to learn how to generate SQL, it's generic enough. And then all this part here about total assets, securities, the concepts, the tables are the context of the database that we're using. So the prompt will be able not only to generate generic SQL code, but SQL code specifically related to the financial database that we're working with, right? So yeah, that's it. And lastly, let's connect all the pieces together. So let's connect our chat with the prompting thing, and let's make it work. Okay. So again, I basically connect both things, right? The first part of the code that you see related to generating the chat and the structure with the prompt, and then the part feeding ChatGPT with the prompt that you prepare, and as you get responses, and those responses are the SQL queries that you're expecting. What we're gonna do is not only show them, but we're gonna actually execute it. So with the Snowflake connection, we're gonna query the Snowflake with the SQL query that was generated by ChatGPT, and the result of it, we're gonna append as message of our session on the Streamlit, right? So that's final lines are exactly about that. Not only generate the SQL queries, but executing them on the fly. So let's run it. Here we go. So it's presenting itself and say, oh, I'm able to do these queries. I could ask about, for instance, what's the city with the highest total assets? Let's get this. So again, once I ask this, he generates the code that would be necessary, a SQL statement that necessary to query that information on our Snowflake database. Once finalized the query show, I don't have to copy and paste and go to a different environment. Snowflake, he is directly connecting to Snowflake and generate this result here. The city with a largest amount of assets, bank assets, are Sussex Falls. We could query different other information. Let me try, I don't know, something else. Um, what is the institution with the largest percentage of insured assets? In case I think about doing business with a particular institution, probably is a good question to ask. Here again, here's a query that would be possible to create a database that's important for Snowflake Marketplace. And as I said, it's running. And Midwest Bank seems the 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 best institution here, ensuring over 100% of their assets actually 107%. So we can simply play around. Again, the example is simple enough. We're going to have a link here with all the step-by-step and all the code that can look with more detail. So that's for it for now. I hope you'll see you soon. Thank you.